Kinda,
We
oh,
better turn our
hey,
sound
that's
on.
funny. Nothing like muting yourself.
Oh yeah. So hopefully we should be being heard now. So well, good evening again. So good evening, Deborah. We got snow yesterday. We were supposed to get 1 inch. No, it was yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday. Yeah,
Yeah, your mom went home.
yeah. We got some snow yesterday. Supposed to get 1 inch, and I think they got an inch 14 miles south of us, and I think we've got about 6 inches. So we got snow, and I think we're supposed to get some more snow tomorrow evening. But sounds like tonight or tomorrow, Arkansas is supposed to be getting a bunch of snow. So good evening, ACM Homestead. So
Yeah, I think this next batch. Well, this morning, whenever I looked at it, it said everything was going to be going south,
yep,
and then
we're in the 1 to 3 now.
yes, now we're in the 1 to 3. So, you know, kids made dinner tonight, and it's ready.
Good evening,
Or
Bluegrass.
David did. David made dinner tonight.
David made dinner. So,
but feeding out cows tonight, I think I've made the decision that it needs to just freeze. The snow that we got insulated the ground a little bit and has made it more of a muddy mess underneath the snow than it does help anything.
Oh yeah, it always does. And
even though it's frozen out.
And it was a heavy, wet snow, so I mean it's.
Yeah, I mean we were only supposed to get. We got snow Saturday too, and we were only supposed to get maybe an inch.
Yeah, they're calling for an inch.
But we got what, 4 to 6?
4 to 6 inches here.
4 to 6 inches.
So. Good evening, Hippocrates, and good evening, Tag and B.
Yeah.
So, but
yep, that's what I was thinking. Is it just needs to freeze?
Yeah, it's always when it gets snow and it's warm like this. It's 40 degrees or so. So
makes it kind of hard to get around. The cows were looking good though.
Yeah. Well, they enjoy 40-degree weather, so.
Yeah. Yep. No, I need to look up and see.
You look very, very small sitting like that.
You're just a giant.
We're not that far away from each other either. So.
No, David brought home this rocking chair. He called me. My dad has storage units. And anyways, they were cleaning out a storage unit for somebody that didn't pay. Probably too much information. But so David calls me. He says, "Hey mom, you want a rocking chair for the desk?" I'm like, "Well, not really, but sure. Bring it home." And I've basically been sitting in it since he's brought it home. So it sits a little lower and a little further back, so I look like a little midget. I guess I probably should not look like so much of a midget. But anyways, there's a side story for you. But as far as the cows goes, yeah, that's that's how I do it. I need to look at the calendar and see.
Yeah, we should. Unfortunately, we should probably start calving here soon. The longer they wait, the happier I am.
I would agree with that.
So, this group we got in was bred a little early, we'll say. So, we typically try to wait till. I like waiting until late March, April, but the bulls were put in a little early. So, luckily they weren't in that great condition when they came in. So, they probably bred a little later than they thought. So,
well, that might have been.
Which has been perfectly fine by me.
But. Yeah, I just need to look at the range and see. I've been checking everybody to make sure that with cold spells and since they're second time calvers that nobody's going to go early because cold weather or fluctuation or
well, it sounds like we're supposed to go at the end of the week really deep cold again. So like highs in the teens and single digits and all that good stuff. So wind chills, I've seen some reports, some models were showing like negative 50-degree wind chills up in Iowa, 30s here, negative 30s. So here, so it's just a model. We'll see.
And that's
Again,
at the end of the week.
yeah. Well, into the month, so yeah, into the
I guess
end of the week. So next week.
That's a bugger.
There's Bird's Eye View Homestead.
Hello, hello, hello.
So, but
Yep. So I did hay checks tonight and make sure we got enough hay to get us through. So
okay,
we need to
we're
talk about
close.
that later, but
We need a few more, but we're close. So not a big deal.
Yep. But
Okay.
no, so I don't know. I was just gonna throw out there tonight, kind of what's been happening around here.
Yeah, did you make your list? Because you're
I
bugging me about not having anything.
well, yeah. So I said, hey, what are we gonna talk
There's
about
all
tonight?
kinds of stuff we've been doing. All kinds of stuff.
I know, but like you think about it, and I have no idea
Okay.
until yeah. So, anyways, we've been working a heck of a lot trying to get our. Well, you have been. I've been back here in dwarfland. On the seeds, finalizing our seeds for the year.
Finalizing seeds, getting all the seeds completely ordered for the whole year,
Which is nice to get all of that expense out of the way.
and I say for a whole year, 90% of what we grow all year is already ordered and everything. So that'll be nice. I mean, we're doing. I think if I think back my plans from last night, it was somewhere like 375 separate plantings of just lettuce that we're doing this year.
How many different species of
Oh, that's.
I think you've got it.
Well, I've got a base
It's like
mix.
20.
I've got a base mix. I've got 5 different head lettuces, and then we've got our Salanova, which is 4 different Salanova mixes. So,
But as far as crops go,
oh, crops, I have no idea. We're probably 30, 35,
30-ish
40,
different crops.
close to 40 probably.
And
Different
then
crops.
that doesn't include the varieties of some of the things. Like you said, the lettuces, we've got like 5 or 6 of them.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
a couple of peppers.
And that didn't count my sporadic buying of melons or cantaloupes or things that I just decide last minute I have to have and find a place to put them, right? Winter squashes and summer squashes and butternut squashes and
He's a junkie. He is a seed junkie.
Sure.
Yeah. So now we have to.
You have a phone call.
I do, and that's a gal that I need to talk to, but I won't right now.
Who's that?
It's from Market.
Oh, go talk to her real quick and see. I can talk about Market for a minute.
Okay.
So, while she's taking that phone call, we are in the process right now of looking at some different markets that we're going to. We've got applications over to the Kansas City downtown market, another market up in downtown Kansas City, and one in say South County, I believe. That one's actually an all organic farmers market. So we're looking at doing those, and then we've also got an application in with Des Moines, Iowa. Now that's a trek even for us. I mean, it's a 2.5 hour drive, so that'd be a heck of a drive. But I think they are number 2 in the nation for farmers market. So we're branching out on farmers markets. My trip down to Tennessee went pretty well down there with Ray Tyler. So picked up a lot of good information down there. And yeah, got lots of plans, and the farmers markets are going to be a big deal. We're going to keep our local market, and Ella, our 16-year-old daughter, is going to take over that market for us, I believe. And we just got to find her some morning assistance, and I think we've possibly got that done. So planting is still in full go for us. We've got the greenhouse is almost completely full. The new greenhouse is kind of at a standstill now with the wet that we've had. So we didn't get the top on it quite as soon as we'd liked, but I think it's supposed to warm up for 2 or 3 days here, and I'm hoping that I can get home early enough that I can get the top on that thing. That's going to be a 20 by 60 greenhouse, which will be nice added bonus. We're in a 20 by 20. That's what we've been operating out of now for Oh, this will be our fifth growing year. So 4 years we've been in that thing. And every single year we start stacking stuff on the ground and um, just trying to find every nook and cranny for that thing. So we're going to expand that and be able to expand our offerings. So um, been out to the high tunnel. I think it was yesterday, and we've got radish and turnips are up in the high tunnel. So be working on another planting at the end of the week. And so we're doing successional plantings on a lot of this stuff. So every single week, um, we're doing like on the turnips, we're doing 50-foot beds every single week. Um, that'll go through. Oh gosh, I'll plant every week for probably October, mid October. Will probably be one of my last plantings on the turnips. So yes, turnips. They're getting close. They won't be probably done by the end of the month when you're over here, Tag. But maybe I can. Maybe a few of them will be, and we'll squeeze some out of there for you, so you can take some home. But no, everything's looking really good. The cold hasn't really affected our tunnels and the growing in there. Um, we do need to do a little um, spraying. We've got Eden's Blue Gold. I'm not sure if that's a product anybody else has heard of, but they make a fusion veg that we use on our uh, products. And when it's cold like this, uh, plants don't take nitrogen very well. So it's while it may be in the ground, it doesn't uptake the nitrogen. So we foliar spray that. We actually have a mister, a backpack mister that we'll put that fusion veg in, and a product called Ultra that's kind of like a plant prebiotic. Um, so that's got to get sprayed on there, and those will be working out really well for us. So I have not seen carrots come up yet, but those are in the high tunnel as well, and those should be popping up any day now. So hopefully those come up, and those are working out. Let's see. I knew she's gonna be on the phone for just a little bit, but oh, Ella's been she has down here for trapping. I'm not sure if Ella's right around here, but Ella's been doing some predator trapping, and she's only got a few more, about a week or two left of doing that. So she's been doing some coon traps, and I think that's about all she's got out right now. But she's brought in a nice little mess of those. So we've been she's been taking care of the predators for the chickens around here for a little bit. Um, yeah, again, just the seeds are just germ chamber. I think is well tonight after we get off the live, we do our weekly planting of micros. So tonight's sunflowers and peas, and I've ordered a bunch more of both of those. I believe dill is tonight as well. Trying to think of what else we have tonight. Radish will wait till Wednesday. That's a really quick grower. Um, broccoli, broccoli's tonight, I do believe. So the germ chamber will be emptied out and filled back up tonight. But had the rosemary all come up. It looks pretty good. It got moved out to the greenhouse tonight, and I believe oregano. So that's been moved out to the greenhouse as well. Oh, let's see what else has been going on around here. Well, you can see behind me, this is all new. Ella and Lisa actually been doing some drywall mud. Um, Ella's been working on. There's a wall. This goes. I can't ever do this with my hand. That way, and then it goes back. And so she's been putting wood on that wall, and that's actually her bedroom right behind us here. So that's what Ella's been doing, and she's going to continue that tonight. Um, so hopefully that's going to be finished, and hopefully we'll have this finished up behind us next week, and we can show off the beautiful work that she's done with that. So, but how much light do the microgreens need? Well, if they're inside, um, you want lights, we prefer to use LED lights if they're inside. And the thing with LED lights is they don't get hot. So you want to put those things as close to the plants as possible. Otherwise, they'll start reaching for the light. But as far as the light goes, they don't need a whole lot. They get leggy if they don't have them. So if you have a way to get them outside, lots of times if you put them in the windowsill, if there's a small enough container, that's enough light for them. What you will do with them, like in a windowsill, is you'll put them in there and you need to rotate them about every day. Sometimes, if you want to, you can do it multiple times a day. But what will happen is, as those grow, they'll just lean this way, right towards the light. And so when you rotate them, they'll lean back towards that sunlight again in that window. So they don't take a whole lot of light. And in fact, for the first couple of days, if you normally it's 2 to 3 days on a lot of them, they don't need any light at all to sprout. So in fact, they're stacked up on top of each other, and that's all that it takes. But a single light for a smaller container is plenty. The more light you can get to them, the better off you are. But the only thing you have to do is worry about heat with light. So if you use LEDs, then stack them just as close as you can to the light or to the tray, and I mean just right there on them until they're grown up with light, and you can move your light up. But the more light, the better. So, but I was going to see if Hippocrates was still on here, if he's going to get some snow, because I imagine I know up in lots of those places up in Arkansas, they don't get snow a whole lot. I know down Little Rock, Arkansas was going to be um, probably just missing it, and I don't remember where Hippocrates was exactly in Arkansas. I think he was in the Northwest, but I know Northwest Arkansas is supposed to get several inches of snow. It sounds like so, but um, but yeah, as far as the microgreens, and then let's see. I had a lot of stuff to talk about until she left, and then I don't have anything to talk about. So, um, I think I finished all of her list. She might not have anything else to talk about, but oh, here she is. Maybe she has good news for us, or just more work. So, but yeah,
You're gonna keep
it's all
talking
it's
or
all
what?
up to you now.
Why?
I went over your whole list too.
You did not.
Yeah, I kind of did, but I don't know what you were going to talk about. I don't know what you were going to say about it.
Well, I was gonna let him know about trapping, and the kids have been trapping.
Well, I said Ella's been trapping. She's been successful.
Kind of.
Oh, kind of. Well, yeah, I think they've lost a few of my traps, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Yeah, but
I don't know if an animal's walking around with bracelets or what, but
I think probably so. There was before we got all that snow, we had a little bit of rain, I think, didn't we? And the ground, they didn't get the anchors in the ground all the way, and so when we got that little bit of rain, it pulled straight out. So yes, I'm sure that there's probably a coon walking around with
a bracelet.
with an ankle bracelet or a hand bracelet.
Yeah.
And then she had a little guy. Poor little guy. Did you tell him about the little guy?
It wasn't that little. She thought it was little, but it wasn't that little.
Oh, it wasn't that
No,
little?
it was not a little coon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, Hippocrates, I was just talking about the Arkansas and the Northeast. He's up in the Northeast, but I think you're going to get some snow, but he says the only blizzard they get are the Dairy Queen blizzards.
Oh, no, it sounds like you guys are supposed to get like almost 6 inches.
That's Northeast Arkansas?
Almost?
That's Northwest.
Oh.
That's Northeast, the Boot Heel side.
Oh, okay.
Other side of the state.
Yeah,
It's a hit
I'm
and go over on that side.
directional delinquent
But
when it comes to that.
Tag had asked, he's helping me out trying to find things to talk about probably, but having a community event coming up. So, and that is the next. We have one of those every other Thursday right now.
Well, the first and third Thursday of the month.
Okay,
so not necessarily every other week, but yeah.
We have a get together, and I know Tag's coming up to one of them. I'm not sure
the
the details. Okay, end of February. So yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, we do those meetups every first and third Thursday.
Yep.
And so it's the fluctuation of how many people are there and kind of what's going on and all that good stuff. But
Yeah, we really want to
expand the
yes.
parameters of that, I guess.
Yes.
Go ahead.
It's not really, I mean, this group has been going on for, well, since 2020.
Yeah.
They got together and kind of, was their initial get together.
They were the original resistance.
Yeah, they were. Of getting rid of all the mask mandates and just all the, chaos and stuff that went with the 2020 stuff. And since then, they've still been meeting and just trying to tackle on other community issues. All the books and stuff that are in the library that are not very nice for kids, and trying to get people elected into positions that are influential.
Like-minded,
Yeah,
influential.
They're trying to get like-minded people into places, that have influence in the community. You really don't find out about what's going on in the community until you have some of these things happen, right? Where everybody's behaviors and personalities start coming out.
Well, if you're not involved and if you don't have friends involved, too. I mean, it's hard to, like any other county in a lot of areas, there's always a good old boy system. Sometimes, a lot of times they're prepping the next person to go into that position, and it's one of their buddies, we'll say.
Yeah.
And we're no different in the community. I mean, so it's infiltrating those and getting individuals that what they stand for.
Right.
It's not just what they say they stand for. They have a reputation for what they stand for because
Correct.
what they're doing. And so it's just getting those individuals in those positions.
Well, and we really, before 2020 hit, 2018, 2019, we really got a taste of, and this wasn't something that, I mean, we don't get into the politics in our community. Yes, we have our own opinions, but we really didn't pay attention except for high level, I guess, as to the community representatives. But
got
a real taste as to who's representing us whenever we had a CAFO, which is a confined animal facility, put in an application to the property that's next door to us. And they were going to put 10,000 hogs on the property.
No, it was more than 10,000.
I thought it was 10,000.
I
thought it started at 3 and then it went up to 10.
It was over 10. But it was a very, very large facility. I mean,
yes,
very large.
It was going to be very impactful, and just going through that process with lawyers and your community representatives, your county representatives, your people at the courthouse, your state, you really kind of learn what they are actually representing, not just what they tell you right before the election.
Yeah.
What it actually means, in that fine print where those little asterisks at the bottom are unsaid stuff. And that was enlightening too. And I think, so like I said, we got a little taste of that before we got into 2020, and then 2020 hit, and then you kind of get to know people a little bit more than that too. So
you figured all that stuff out pretty quick. So
yeah, but so that's how that group started, was 2020, and they've just been meeting since, which is kudos to them. We were involved with them for a little bit in the beginning, and then kind of fell off, and then really felt the need to be back into our community and help out where we can and build the community. And so I don't want to say that we're trying to build their community, or it's not ours to be.
Well, we're a part of it.
We are a part of it.
They're kind of I'll say the political action committee of that is kind of where they're geared towards. Now, that's not the only thing they're geared towards, but they're really that's what they're trying to. That's where they feel they can make the most impact.
Yes.
In a quick thing. Yeah. And I don't disagree with them, but we would like to expand that group into like the freesteading and get building into more community and bring not only one side on that, and bring both sides in the community together. And while they may not agree with everything they have, there's other things that we can all agree on. So, and just bringing all that together. I mean, bringing a community back to it, not just a group of just
Right.
like-minded people.
Right. Yes.
So
Learning to lean on each other instead of all these big guys running around, like Walmart. Heck, we were in there the other night getting a few things, and there's a lot of times that we walk in there, and I think it'll probably be worse this year that they don't have what you need.
well, and nobody else does either, and that's the problem is
right.
all the community's left with so many times is the Walmart.
Yeah,
and because nobody else has anything else.
Yeah.
So we have local Ace Hardware, which they carry a lot of good stuff, and we try to get in there as much as we can. And obviously, we don't buy much food at all. So, I mean, it's
We're
Walmart's
lucky in that way.
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We are. I mean, that's what we do for a living.
Right. Well, that's true. I mean, if we didn't,
So
we wouldn't be very successful gardeners.
yeah. So, I was talking about somebody. AMC had asked about how much light microgreens, and I was just kind of explaining the windowsill and all that. But Hippocrates had said about LEDs give about 10% the light as natural outdoor light, and that's probably very true. But microgreens, while if you get into a discussion about it, I would say that the sun is far superior even for microgreens. But there would be, I guess there could be an argument or a very good study on it that all the nutrients that the microgreens contain are already within the seed, so they're not gaining much off of the sun as far as nutrients go or anything like that. So the sun's not really contributing except for just the light. But we do know that LEDs very close work just fine. So I mean, you can do it. Lots of people do them in warehouses and basements and things like that. It's really keeping them at a moderate temperature for as much as you can as well. It really helps. So,
well, do you think there's a difference in the greenness that the plant gets? If they are LED
it's so hard to tell because if you're growing them at 70 degrees, I mean, you're talking about 14 days max a lot of times.
Well, that's heat. I mean, you could grow them in the germ chamber for those 14 days, but they're not going to have any color because they have no pigment.
Well, yes. I mean, and you can do that. There's actually like sunflowers. That's one of the ways they do it. They'll actually blanch them and they'll cover them after they actually grow, and they'll cover them for like 3 days and they'll turn them white. I have no idea why they do it, but it's something that some people seek that out. I don't know.
I guess it'd be cool on your dish.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Hippocrates got a freeze dryer in today too, so that's one thing that we've looked into it, and we've never pulled the trigger on a freeze dryer yet. But that is definitely something that we are interested in. So
yes, it's on my to-do get list. It just has not jumped up in priority yet. So my brother has one. He's got the
Harvest Right.
The Harvest Right, like the extra large. No, the step right below whatever the biggest one is. And he said, if you want to try it, I can send him some meals and whatnot, and he'll freeze things up for me and see how they turn out. I almost want to try it before I go invest in a freeze dryer.
Well, I know Grumpy Acres, they run freeze dryers.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, you could ask them as well.
Maybe I can purchase a meal from her. Have her ship it to me. I mean, it's not perishable, so
I'm not sure if they're making meals or what they're doing. I know they were doing something. They were doing the freeze dryers. So
I'll have to ask her.
Yeah. Bird's Eye View says I'm going to with a friend to a homesteader winter meet and greet in our area next week.
Cool.
And I believe that is and I could be wrong.
Your new homestead?
No, that would be it could be, but Tag just interviewed, and I'm going to forget the gentleman's name off the top of my head. I just watched it today or yesterday, but individual from Indiana, and he'd actually gone from bankrupt to a homesteader.
Oh, he was talking about that.
And he's holding a meet and greet, so that very maybe what she's talking about too.
Okay.
But
Well, that's cool.
so
I have seen where there's a lot of folks wanting to move into Missouri too, and looking for different places. Probably need to probably post a couple of those land things that you had out there.
hmm.
But
Well, I think I've got a few more, but I've got to get back on top of that. We are just, like she said, we're working on seeds and seed plans and just.
did you tell them about Ella's wall?
Oh no, I didn't tell him. I said I pointed out that you guys have been mudding, but no, I did not tell him about Dog Creek Farm. Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Tag. Yeah, Jake from Tag, Dog Creek Farm. So that was a really good interview. I really enjoyed that. So, anyways, you tell your story about her wall, because we're sitting here last night. I'll just preface this with we're sitting here last night. I'm working on this and asking her. I just
When we were
different
doing
questions
seeds.
when we were doing seeds. And go ahead. Just
Anyway, so Ella does really good at little projects like this, and we finally decided that instead of putting up like live boards, because we were going to paint the walls black and put up just slats of wood, and that way if they shrunk, then you wouldn't be able to see behind them. Well, we haven't really been able to find what we want in a location that we can just go grab it or whatnot. And so we've been looking at the stick-on tile that you put on the floor that looks like wood. And so we decided that we're just going to go with that. And Ella and I had laid out a pattern on the floor, so we had it all good and go. And so we did some mudding while Andrew was gone. And then yesterday, Ella had finished up the sanding and whatnot on not this wall, but the one on the other side of it, and got it painted so that the tiles
I'm getting coffee.
would.
Nicole Sauce's holler roast coffee. So
Yeah, it's really good. And so, anyways, we
thank you,
painted the
Vanna.
wall so that the stick tile would actually stick to the wall and not just fall off because yeah. And so she starts sticking those on there, and she gets like up to about chair rail height, like almost halfway. It was looking really, really good.
Right by here.
Yeah, it was looking really good. And so Andrew and I she was taking a break, eating dinner, and Andrew and I were sitting here at the computer, doing what we were doing. And all of a sudden you just start hearing this slap, slap, and all these tiles just start falling off the wall.
Like dominoes off
just
the wall.
like dominoes. They would not stick at all. So last night she was getting so aggravated because it was like she put one back up and then the other one would stick. And then she slammed it up against the wall and like 4 of them fell.
Punched the wall through.
It was hilarious. Anyways, we got some glue and we'll see if glue doesn't fix the hole.
If it doesn't, I'm giving up.
I don't know what else to do
It'll be fine.
if the glue doesn't.
Glue will be fine.
Glue doesn't make it stick, but
I would glue them on
it
the
was
floor if I
hilarious.
had them anyways. So
yeah, it's gonna look really
Yeah,
cool
but
once it's
floor
done.
and the wall are two different things.
well, as long as the
Yeah.
wall holds, then flooring will stick. So, good evening, Indiana Mike. So, but Hypocrite says any story that starts with "so I was just sitting here," and that's about right too.
I
But
didn't do it.
as soon as I heard the slap, I knew exactly what was going on. Wasn't my first rodeo on doing stick tile, so I said, "Well, it's gonna have to have some glue." So
And it's not like it was cold in here where it wouldn't. It was almost 80 degrees in here, so it's not like they weren't cold.
no, but
You
they're
know,
but they're
but
still
they're-
rigid and they're not flat. So then you have to,
Yeah,
and then you're trying to hang them on gravity.
On a-
Gravity works well, so.
that's true.
But if you notice when you fell off, there's not all of it contacted. So that's why you get the roller out too.
Yeah. So while we were at Lowe's, we picked up some glue and
See,
a roller.
and you need to do a video on that. There's a video for you.
I took some video of it.
Okay, well now you have to take some video of how to do it right. So
Hey, I'm not a carpenter.
you don't have to be a carpenter. Carpenters don't lay tile.
I'm a home DIYer,
Uh-huh.
and hopefully it works.
Yep. Yep.
But
So,
so I'm stoked about that. It's gonna look really cool. It's gonna look really cool.
yeah, it looks nice. I agree. What else you got going? Had you gone? Because I was gone for a couple of days. Anything else going during that time?
No, we didn't do squat while you were gone.
Oh, you guys played games. That's right.
Yeah.
Vacation.
We were on vacation. Yeah. See, the cat's away, the mice will play. And so we played.
Okay.
Not a whole lot. I mean, we still did everything that needed to be done. We just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I got home the other night, and the desk, the dogs had gotten up here and eaten seeds, and this whole the desk was all. I don't know how they got up on the desk, but they ravaged everything.
Nothing like having puppies. It's like toddlers all over the place. But
How many times we said we'd never do it again, and we keep doing it again?
it's your fault.
Yeah, it is my fault. Okay.
I don't even know what to tell you. I don't.
I don't either.
Besides, maybe I need to
Today, Pie Day or something?
pie day.
Yeah.
Why?
Because Google has a cherry pie on the, or something has a cherry pie on the search
I
bar
don't
now.
know, but you definitely were jonesing for pie last night because you bought 2 of them,
Hey, they didn't have milk in them. So.
and then you cooked both of them. At 10
And you guys
o'clock at
ate
night.
them both.
Well, it was breakfast.
Strawberry rhubarb pie for breakfast.
Yeah, better than a donut.
Well, that's probably true. When do you plant onions? And do you start them from seed? Well, do you start them from seed? That's a good question. We do. We have.
We've done both.
We've done both. Some people have really good luck. So we've had really good luck with seed onions as far as bulb onions. Yellow. We do yellow, white, and red. You can get sets. Um, you can start or onions at any time because what happens with onions is as long as you feed them a little bit, if they start getting too big, but you just give them a haircut. And you just literally just go through they'll start getting taller and taller and taller, and you just go in there and cut the tops off, and it doesn't bother them at all. So you just go in there, and if you start seeing them yellow or something like that, you can do some fish emulsion or something that has some nitrogen to it that's water soluble, and they'll be fine. But for around here, we're getting ready to do onions anytime. I mean, because they can go out early.
The thing about seeding them down instead of using the sets is
You have one. You want to get pelleted seed if you're going to do onions like that.
yes, you do want pelleted seed, and you want them into small plug trays. So like 200s,
200s.
because they don't really have a large root system to them until they get bigger. And so transplanting them is kind of a booger because it's only one onion versus like if you are doing um, green onions where you have like 7 seeds in a group where they have more of a root mass
7
to
to
them.
10 to 14 sometimes.
Yeah, then yeah,
I prefer-
it's just that soil whenever you're pulling that onion out of the plug, it just like falls apart and you're left with this one little like string of onion, and it's really a peanut butt.
Well, we prefer to plant onions earlier than later. I mean,
Yeah.
because like I said, they can stay in a tray for a long time.
Yes,
They just need to be
do.
fed.
They
I
do.
mean, they just need a little food every now and then. And there again, if you keep them moist and you keep them green and you just keep cutting them,
Oh yeah,
give them a
they'll
haircut,
keep growing.
they'll keep growing. But as long as we try not to stress anything. I mean, the stress. I still think that if you stress plants early, it affects their growth rate down the road. So if you want nice big onions, you just need to kind of keep an eye on them, but nothing big. I mean, you could go in once a week and put fish emulsion on them starting from day one, and they're going to love it. So, or anything that has some. I mean, I know that they even make organic Miracle Grow now,
Yes, they do.
and so something like that would be fine too. I mean, there's all kinds of there's. I was talking about that Eden's Blue Gold. It's kind of an expensive product, but um, like a 2.5 gallon jug was like $200, but that will last us all year long, and that's something that we will spray weekly over the whole garden. Every plant will get it, and you can buy them in a gallon or a half gallon or something like that, and that's something you can just go in there and put in a spray bottle, even like a just normal
Oh
spray
yeah, I
bottle,
think you would be able to.
and that would be wonderful for your greenhouse, and it's all
Yeah.
organic. So
Well, that's something else we've really been
So.
concentrating on this year is our fertilizer, our nutrients. Not really
Yeah.
the fertilizer, but nutrients to the plant into the garden. Not that we haven't had good crop, because we have, but we feel that we could have better crop.
Sure. Well, and what the deal has always been is for the last several years, I've done all the soil analysis. So I get soil tests, and then I break those down to what I interpret that I need. Um, and I think last year I just got soil tests back, and I got some preliminary numbers. I just got some more done today. So I've got to go through all those numbers and actually decipher what the change is that we've had from year to year. Um, but I know how our plants grew last year. And that's the thing is, I was listening to an interview today, and we don't realize the untapped potential that a plant has. We we see commercial varieties, we see all this stuff, but we are just scratching, excuse the pun, but scratching the surface of knowledge in soils
Oh yeah.
and what the possibilities are. And I think we over fertilize in a lot of areas, but it's the balancing of soils and getting those plants zero stress and what they need when they need it, and the untapped potential that those plants have, I think is huge. So that's kind of what we're
Yeah.
kind of honing on and getting back into those areas. I'm going to catch up here real quick because Hippocrates Garden did peanut butter cookies, and I love peanut butter cookies.
Yes, he does.
But and I've heard that recipe, the 3 ingredient, but that's something that Ella would enjoy making. But he's just said a cup of peanut butter, a cup of sugar, and 1 egg. Put it on a cookie sheet, 10 minutes, preheat 350 degrees. So easy peasy. And that sounds really good.
That does.
Maribeth had asked, and again, so call her Maribeth, which is really weird sometimes, but that's my mother.
Call her B.
They call her B. All the kids call her B. No offense, B, but there's another B here too. Do we plant sweet onions? We've never had much luck. We've tried to get sweet onions.
Well, B, the Patterson onion that we are planting this year
That's
is
not
a
a-
sweet onion.
Is that a sweet
It
onion?
is a yellow sweet.
Okay, so Patterson onions are a yellow sweet onion. Walla Walla, we've tried in the past trying to
We
get
can't get the
Walla Walla.
seed.
We can't get the seed. Every time I go back to get it, and I need to look. Dixondale is a really good place to get onions. Um, they do sets, they do live onions. So if we used to do sets, um, there's a lot to be said for sets. I think they're really really easy, really quick. I just don't think they have the as much potential for size. But I could be wrong.
Well, what about plants?
Plants are essentially you could do plants, and plants I think have more potential for size because
Then
all you're doing with a plant is that's a summer planted onion that they're harvesting in the winter and they're sending to you.
so you would be more ahead to buy the plant
Correct.
than to do the seed.
Correct. Well, yes. It's more cost
But you get a
per
bigger
se,
bulb.
but you get a bigger, more mature plant seed plant. So yeah. So the
And
answer
then
is yes, but not exactly the ones we wanted. But what?
yes, and the other thing on onions, just going back to it, is there is like 3 different types of like daylight onions. Like
Oh yeah,
there's
yeah.
when
There's
you're looking at onions, it's not like just
It's day
your,
length.
yeah, it's day length. It's not just your zone that you're in. It is actually how many daylight days you have for onions whenever you're growing, and that contributes a lot to their size
Yeah.
too.
it does. It does.
So um, we didn't really learn that until we started looking at seeds, and it was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, but and the thing is if you're planting them in spring, we can grow about any onion there is.
We can, yes,
Yeah.
but
So
we have a pretty large growing season too.
Yeah, we do.
Versus some people.
not as large as like Arkansas or Tennessee, but yeah.
Yeah, 70 degrees.
Prepared for Eternity Homestead says greetings and hello from
Hello.
Alabama. Not as much as Alabama, so.
Yeah, not Alabama's probably. I was gonna say it's probably pretty warm right now, but
Well, we're supposed to be. You know what the high's supposed to be right now, right here.
40s.
38 degrees. It's supposed to be the average high right now. We're supposed to be climbing and we're dropping. So
It's been a weird winter.
it has. Well, it's
I mean,
really
like, it
cold
doesn't-
early, moderate. It's every winter's been kind of weird the last couple of years. So
It doesn't even feel like it's the end of January. I mean, like it. If you think about it, we really only have 30 days left of
winter.
winter.
Yeah. I mean, once we get into late February, once we get into March, we get the cool, and we get snow in March, but it's not common. It's not an everyday.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you're gonna get a blast of snow and it's gonna be 40 degrees, wet and muddy.
Yes.
So,
Muddy March is what
Yeah.
we call it.
but there's lots of times I can start planting cover crops in March. So that's we
Yes.
start putting in some oats and stuff like that. So
Yes. Which I'm excited about that this year. I like
So.
seeing very, very, very green,
lush green pastures.
even though it'll
Yeah.
go away pretty
So.
quickly. But
10 Hippocrates asked about 10 have a place in soil test results and tracking.
ooh,
They do not, as far as I know today. But I'll tell you, we've been messing around with 10 for 4 years, and every time we learn a little bit more. We learn a little bit more. It is again, it's one of those. It's probably too much for most people because I think we talked about this. That could be definitely a full-time job, and I think you gave kind of the idea of if possibility of having a software or that being a side gig essentially.
Yeah.
Definitely could be. So we're going back through and marking all of our seeds, what's organic, what's not organic, and just trying to set up that so that we can really have a solid plan and a not a haphazard plan really with the 10 because we are planting according to that. I mean, she gets alerts what's supposed to be planted that day, and so that's what she goes and looks for.
well, and the crazy thing is you think planning out your year for crops is okay. Well, I want to plant this, this, and this, and you should be done. But there is so much minute detail and finagling that has to be done that it seems like it takes forever. I mean, heck, we've been working on crop plan for
Well, off and on, yeah, I have been.
like
But I
2
mean,
months.
we even get
It
down to the
feels like it.
tendencies of certain things get 3 seeds, certain things get green onions get
Yeah.
7 to 10 seeds. What was I saying that spinach? We put 3 to 5 seeds in spinach. So those are all things that I've got to make sure that are in those, so that when either she's planting or she tells somebody else to go plant, it's a pull it up, look at it. Here's your directions, and it tells you the cell size. It tells you everything that's sitting right there in front of you. So
You know what though? You might be able to put soil tests in there because it does have a place for records.
it does.
You can take pictures of it and
Yeah, it does have that. So I mean, it's even when if I put fertilizer in the bed before we plant, those records go into 10, and I come back and I do that.
Yeah.
And then when we harvest bed by bed, we'll literally harvest a bed, go back to 10, record the weight, put that in there, and have a harvest record on that. So I know what we're doing. So our base mix of lettuce we can average on a Salnova bed would be at 100 foot is a good yield is 100 pounds. So we can get 100 pounds of lettuce on that one bed. Probably average closer to 80 pounds. So, but it just tells me, oh, that fertilizer worked better than this fertilizer. And what we do in our fertilizer is just because we were talking about that a little earlier, is we've been doing minimally mined. So we're doing things like feather meal, blood meal, alfalfa meal, and those are more of your nitrogen sources because blood meal is a really quick nitrogen source. Feather meal is a very slow nitrogen source. So we're composting in place in that sense because we're letting the earthworms really come up, eat what they want to eat out of that stuff, and that's who's decomposing that. And while at the same time they're aerating the soil, they're fertilizing the soil, they're doing all this good stuff, and we're not having to mess around with it. So, prepared Eternity said 55 degrees for their high today. So we're excited for those. We're always excited. But yes, we are in Missouri, and like Hippocrate said, and
Yeah, we're
we
in
enjoy
North
our
Central.
winters. And Northwest Central
Yes.
is what I always have a hard time because we're not really central Missouri, North Central. We're more on the western side, but we're not northwest Missouri either. So
Well, and the crazy thing is we're only about 40 miles from the Iowa border too.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
doesn't seem like we're really that far north,
But we are.
but we are. Because we don't
So-
ever go to Iowa. I mean, heck,
Yeah,
we always go south.
yeah. Like I was saying, we put an application in for Des Moines, but that's still a 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Des Moines is pretty close to being that's south central Iowa, I think. So
Des Moines, yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
but yeah, we enjoy the winters, but at the same time we really enjoy the spring temperatures and all that good stuff. So hey, Billy's just came in, so
Hello, Billy.
let's see. Just send them an email asking if it's in there or how others may be doing so. I'm not sure what Hippocrates was on that one. Just send them. Okay. Yeah, just prepared for eternity. Said we had to plant sweet corn 4 times last year, but the fourth time we did fairly well. 280 years, not huge, but a start. Do y'all do rabbits? We don't do rabbits today. That is, we've got a neighbor down the road that has some rabbits, and when he has some more for sale, we are going to start pastured rabbits. I've got some tractors that we can do. I'm going to put just a cage on the bottom of the tractors already. So I've had rabbits in the past, but have not. We haven't done them out on this pasture, but that is something we are looking to get into to do more for sure. As far as the sweet corn, the best sweet corn that we've done, and I'm going to stick to my guns on this, is a fall sweet corn at this point.
Yeah.
So I think we did August last year is when we planted, and it worked out just absolutely beautiful. We didn't spray a single thing on it. Now I probably would go back and put one application, maybe a BT on it, but we had very few worms. So
It was a cool harvest
it was
because
beautiful.
number one, we actually were able to harvest sweet, which
Well,
is a
yeah.
huge success because the past 3 years, maybe 4, the
Raccoons would
stupid
just
trash
ravage.
pandas would just come in right before we're ready to harvest and just annihilate the whole patch.
Even with electric fence, because that's what we have to do is electric fence around that kind of corn and that.
Yeah.
And even that they were going through the electric fence, but we made it tight
Very tight and hot.
tight and hot and close this year. And
Yeah.
they didn't mess around with getting through that one this year.
Which, kind of revenge makes you want to like sit out there whenever they're getting ready to touch it and then just laugh at them because of how much they've destroyed the past couple years and be like, ha ha. But the other thing that was pretty cool, and we did a YouTube on it, was the smut. The sweet corn actually grew smut, and we were like, what in the world is this? And it's a fungus that grows in the corn, and it's actually a delicacy for Mexican dishes.
Yep, Hispanic dishes. It's a delicacy.
And you can fry it, but I guess it's a fungus, so kind of like a mushroom. And I'm almost hoping that we kind of get some of that this year so we can actually try it. We were a little
You
leery.
you
We
don't
didn't know what it was.
well, and you don't see it anymore because of the fungicides
Right.
that are sprayed, and
Yes.
we haven't sprayed fungicides or insecticides or for 4 years now. I mean, we will.
Yeah.
Well,
More than that, I'm going to say.
well, yeah, no, it's been more than that, but and we will spot spray when we get like an aphid issue or something like that, and that's something we're kind of doing more uh,
Proactive, but
proactive.
it's more like spraying garlic.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
insecticide.
There's a wonderful garlic product out there, and I will get that label out here. I'll pull that bottle out next time. I'm gonna forget what the name of the bottle is, but I
Yeah.
will get that because that is something you can order. I think the only place I've found it is on Amazon, but it's 100% garlic. There's no aftertaste. There's no the bottle smells, but the what you're putting it on doesn't smell. Rabbits won't touch it afterwards. It seems like bugs tend to don't mess around with the plants anymore. So it's very much a proactive thing. I think
Mhm.
it's something we're going to test around with, just tank mixing it when we're doing some fertilizers. Because we're going to do some of that stuff for weekly stuff, especially like ultra. Um, Billy has been out in Arizona doing
Oh.
the
Oh, I
Earthship
did see
homes
that.
and things like that. So
Yeah.
hope everything's going really well out there, Billy. Be safe while you're
Yeah.
out there, and
Yeah.
that's it's really neat to be watching those kind of builds. So
Well, and I just seen, the snippet part of one of your videos that you put out about the desert and whatnot, and it reminded me of Oklahoma. I've got family in Oklahoma at the Panhandle, and it's like desert out there. And whenever we were going down there, we were trying to just educate a little bit because it's all sagebrush and it's all
oh yeah,
in.
they're trying to run cattle, and I mean I forget there's something like 40,000 acres they run,
Yeah,
and
it's a
they don't
lot.
have a huge herd. I mean they have
But you've
cows,
got to
but
have a lot of acreage for the
yeah,
vegetation that they have down there,
yeah,
and the rotational grazing and the implementing some of the food forest type stuff, and
yeah.
it would, I think, go a long way for
Well, it's
bringing
amazing when
their
you start.
environments back.
Yeah, it's amazing when you start looking at the studies um, of the desert, and I always have a trouble saying that word desert,
Desification.
not desertification. No, not no,
Not it.
desertification. No, that's not it. We don't want it. We don't want that either. So, yeah, desertification. Um, how some of this ground has just been from the lack of animals, the lack of this kind of stuff getting out there. So,
Yeah,
but
the animal impact.
hypocrites was talking about the email was talking about 10 with soil tests. So
Yeah.
and that's something we do. They're really good as far as getting back to us. It takes them about a day.
Yeah, I think
around
they're a
that.
small shop.
I think they are. But they always have good customer service, and they always get back to us. So that's definitely something we can do. And then you have Donnie from the Prep for Eternity Homestead, which is a really neat name. Prep for Eternity Homestead.
Yes.
That's a wonderful name.
Yes.
So, lights dim in the house. Yeah, trash pen on the water. Yeah. Yeah, we were trying to figure out what was going on last night. Yesterday we had some blinks in the power on the house uh, around here, and I said, I wonder if that squirrel is ever going to get knocked off that line, but I guess they cleared it somewhere, so the power stayed up. So
Yeah, we had a couple of flashes of the snow that came through. The lines were actually looking pretty heavy out
yeah,
there.
they were. Well, I imagine that's what was going on. Something was touching.
Something was touching.
So
Yeah,
one of these days we'll have our solar, and we won't have to worry about it.
that's true.
We'll laugh at all of them.
That's true. Yep. That's always a work in progress, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got?
Gosh, I think I spilled my guts. I don't know.
Oh, you got. Well, we did buy a new toy last night. Not that I've never bought any of the Walmart electrical stuff, battery powered stuff. They are running 40-volt stuff out of Walmart, but we're needing to clean up some of the one of the high tunnels, and I've got some spots that are just we don't use a push mower hardly at all, and I don't really want to run a gas push mower because then you have to have just a smaller thing of gas and oil and blah 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 blah. So we bought, or she had bought, a electric chainsaw or battery chainsaw,
That's pretty
and
cool.
she likes that. So those are all been DeWalt's. But we're looking for a lawnmower. Well, we felt kind of weird with 6 inches of snow going into Walmart last night buying a lawnmower. But we did, and we bought one of their, but they're running a 40-volt push mower. So it seems we're going to try it out maybe tomorrow. So we've got some tomato debris left, and it's got a
Well,
mulching feature and all kinds of stuff, but no
yeah,
fumes
and we went this way because we eventually want to get a flail mower that goes on the BCS.
yeah, for
And
cover crops.
for
I
cover
mean, that's what we're
crops,
moving towards.
for,
Yeah,
so that you can mulch in place on your beds. And that's just not an investment we're ready to make. Yes, we're ready to make it, but we're not ready to make it, if that makes sense.
it's a $2,000 plus mower.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
And so this is a step to that flail mower that that we kind of needed before we got the flail mower.
yeah.
So we'll see how it works. I mean, there's quite a few that I've talked to, but not this model exactly, but
This
some of the
little
other
thing,
models that like Lowe's has, they really enjoy them.
we'll see. This little thing got 40-volt, 6 amp hour battery on it. Says it'll do a third of an acre. So okay, only 18 inches wide, but
Yeah,
so
so that'll get down
hypocrite said he got a sigh. May need shin guards for it, shin
the.
armor. I've got a hand sigh that it's an older one, but I used to mess around. We have a full size somewhere. I'm not sure where I put that thing at, but
What is it?
the sigh is it's the curved, and
Oh,
then
the
it's got
Silky.
no, that's silky is a handsaw.
Oh, okay.
A sigh is a grass cutter. So it's generally got a long, and it's got a handle
Oh,
down
it's
here,
like a rice knife.
like a rice knife, except for this one's a big sigh.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah,
I know where it's at.
and then we have a hand sigh, and the hand sigh is probably what you're thinking of. It's
Oh,
just a
yeah.
hand
I'm probably
like this.
yeah.
Yeah. So
No, I don't. I seen that one day. I'm like, what the heck is he doing with that? You
yeah.
got a weed eater.
sometimes sometimes I just want to do weeds in peace.
Okay.
So Donnie had said they cut their old stuff with the mower also. And yeah, anything outside we try not to have, well, like the corn,
Yeah, the corn needs to be
we'll cut it. But generally speaking, we're turning beds so quickly. In the summertime, we'll just tarp a bed for 6, 7 days and it'll melt and we're planting right directly back into it. But generally speaking, we're on such a high rotation here that most of our beds, and I should preface this, the bed, a garden for us is a 40-foot by 100-foot long garden. We have 14 of those as of today. I think it's 100. If I did my math right, it's 140, 114 beds or something like that is what we have, and they're all 30-inch wide, 100-foot long. And so, generally speaking, we can get 6 crops in a bed a year. Is what roughly we can do. Now that depends if it's more lettuce and turnip, and we still rotate. We do a pretty good rotation, so that's why 10 kind of comes in place for us a lot of times, or at least some type of thing like that. Um, but yeah, we are literally Salanova, a Salanova bed, or even a head lettuce bed. We're looking at 30 days in the greenhouse, and we're looking at 30 days max before harvest. At harvest, we take that the same day. Generally speaking, we will harvest that all out. Generally, it's the day or the day after. It kind of depends on what time of the day it is. We're taking that and we are bed prepping those beds. And if it's cooler, then we're going to bed prep it. Just weed out the we don't take the root systems out, but we're just cutting the heads off the top with like a stirrup hoe or scuffle hoe, however you want to look at it or call it. But we're doing that, and then we're direct seeding right into those beds with a salad mix. So it's a direct sow at that point. That takes 18 days for that to produce. So we're just doing that constantly. So turnips, once they're in season, radishes are 28 days from direct seed. Turnips are about a 34, 35 day to production seed. So I mean, literally every month and a half, we are producing a new crop out of those beds, and we are in the process of putting more tunnels up, cat tunnels, so that we can continue to do that 365 days a year with more rotation, more variety. Uh, Planning on having, I've got tomatoes in the tunnels all the way through December of next year with no heat planned right now. Now we'll see.
Well, no, I think that's
That's generally, we can do
decent.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can do that here, generally speaking. And if we do have to heat, we do have a heater in one of our high tunnels. It hasn't been on in 2 years. But if we would heat, we would keep it above freezing. Is what kind of the idea is. Keep it at like 34 degrees or something.
Yeah.
So, because tomatoes really, the day length is what kills your tomato production.
Yes.
They like a warm day and a cool night is what they prefer. They don't, we think of tomatoes as a hot season, but they quit flowering.
They do. They quit.
Is what they really do. So as long as they outside, they have a better production because of the airflow. But that's definitely something you want to kind of keep in mind is if you don't have the airflow or if you're blocked, you need to spread your tomatoes out just a little bit more so they get more airflow. So the buds will terminate once they get. I think it's 90 degrees, and the buds start terminating.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah. So they need airflow and that kind of, and when they're doing that kind of stuff. So
Well, the other thing that we're going to try this year is we haven't put shade cloth on the tomato house.
yeah,
Tomato
and
garden.
we'll avoid that if we can possibly try avoiding that. But it all depends. I mean,
Though it really doesn't. We have hot days.
we generally have good airflow. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we do get the hot, sticky, no wind days, but we still lots of times it's like a blow dryer
Yeah, it's
with
really though. It's not
hot,
cold.
wet air. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. So he says that the kids hid your tools so they didn't have to use it. They'd probably chop somebody's legs off with it if they tried.
they're probably talking about the she may be talking about the side.
Your side.
Well, yeah, they don't want to use it. I'm sure.
No,
So,
I don't know that I want to either.
but Donnie had said they're in the process of putting their first high tunnel up. They have 30 acres. Been building a homestead for 2 years. Lots of work. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
I commend you on it.
No kidding.
Homeschool and work full time and a pastor at a small church.
You have a full plate, sir.
Yep. So we're doing what we're doing here, and it's always interesting how I categorize this what we do as homestead. We work both full time jobs. We still have the business of the gardening, and that's why I say we farm. We live a homesteading life, and we farm as a business on the homestead. But then we also have cattle, pigs, and chicken. So, but
But yes, as far as your high tunnel goes, it's one of those you will absolutely love it.
oh yeah,
Because you will find working the soil in your high tunnel is so much easier. Even though you irrigate it, the rain has so much impact on the ground that you really just don't want to garden outside anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much nicer to be in the tunnel. And with your 55 degrees that you had today, I'm sure it was probably, if you had sun,
you'd be cooking in that thing.
you'd be having a suntan, in the middle of January.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful.
We averaged today it actually got fairly warm. It's supposed to get like 39 degrees, but the sun actually did pop out here and there. And when the sun is out, snow can be on the ground, and it can still be 60 degrees easy in the high tunnel.
Well, the greenhouse probably should have been vented today because I checked on it throughout the day and it was a little warm.
You have your camera on it, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. So she's been watching the temperatures in the greenhouse, but yeah, the greenhouse is just a little 20 by 20, nothing to it, and it'll crank in there. And that high tunnel. The nice thing about the high tunnel, as opposed to even a cat tunnel, is the air mass in those things. So it takes a lot more for it to cool down, and it takes a lot more for it to heat up. Um, and especially down in your areas, I'm not sure what you have as far as your high tunnel goes, but um, the higher the sides I can get, side curtains, the higher I'm going to get. If we've got one side that's 10 foot,
Yes.
and it's literally an 8 foot opening on that thing, and I will build all my high tunnels that way. Ridge vents. The thing that we're probably going to look at doing, I've got to reskin the first high tunnel for sure on top. I know if I build another greenhouse out of the high tunnel, which is going to happen eventually, and I'm even going to look at our high tunnels on these, is I may put a ridge vent. I may, if we have to put new plastic on it, which we need to, if the time comes and we have the money for putting a ridge vent in, I'm going to retrofit that or hire somebody. I'll buy the parts, and I probably won't have time at that point, but put a ridge vent in. But in this time of year, absolutely, I could go into a high tunnel, and what you'll find is you can use it 300, especially in your area, 365 days. Um, you can grow all year long in that thing. So 7 foot on the sides and 12 foot in the center. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The other thing that we didn't do on the second one that we did on the first one is we put insect netting down the side curtains.
don't do it.
Don't do it. It's a good thought.
And it does work.
Yes.
It just cuts airflow.
It cuts airflow. And it really doesn't keep the insect down.
Well, it would if you kept the front doors open, but
Door closed.
Door closed. Yeah, I said door open, didn't I?
Yeah.
If you kept the doors closed, it would work. But again, the airflow is such a big deal.
Huge.
We had in that tunnel, what we have, 700, five, yeah. The first year, no, the first year you had more than that. You had 500 plus 600.
How many rows are in there?
600. You had 600 tomatoes in the first year.
Yeah.
In a tunnel, and so when you get that mass in there, and then there's just no airflow, so we were starving for airflow. We have ridge vents and everything, and we have fans in that one even, and it still wasn't enough airflow. So the screening's coming off this year on that one for sure. The second one was dramatically different.
Oh yeah.
And now again, it's one of those things. Duh, put shade cloth on it. I mean, it's a 20-degree difference. So
Yes.
shade cloth, especially down in Alabama, that is going to be your friend. Get a shade cloth, very inexpensive. They'll last years for you, and just get some rope, and you can literally tie. When you put it on the first time, just tie 4 on each corner, and you can tie it to the bottom of the tunnel on one side, and then all you do is throw your ropes on the other side, go over, pull them till they're tight, and then tie them down. And then if you get to where it's cloudy for 2 or 3 days and you want to pull it off, just pull it off and then put it right back on. It seems like a lot of work, but it's really, you're talking about 15, 20 minutes, and you're talking about a 20-degree difference in those tunnels. And if tomatoes are fully mature, and another thing you might do, and again, I'm not sure what you're putting in those, especially if you're putting greens or anything like that, that shade cloth on there in the middle of summer, you could keep it on the whole time.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter. Or you could take it off, especially in the beginning when you're planting stuff, put it on, and then
That'll help with transplantation.
keep it on for, take it off, and you'd be good. So we saved for a while for it. Dang, things are hot. You are not kidding. We've got, like I said, we've got 2 of the big tunnels. Ours are a 30 by 96 on those 2, and they're expensive.
Metal is coming down though. Like
Yeah.
the building the greenhouse has been things are down back to where they were a couple of years ago as far as prices go.
They are, but I mean, you go to Farmer's Friend for
They're still expensive.
they make a
no matter
tunnel.
what you
You
get.
can buy 25-foot, 50-foot, or 100-foot tunnels through them. They're 16-foot wide or 14-foot wide. You got both choices. Um, and we would tend to go to the 100-foot, and we get snow, so I tend to try to overbuild them. And their pro package, blah blah blah, is still just shy of $5,000 for a tunnel. Um, and I've really been looking. That was one of the things down in when I was down in Tennessee. They've been building their own tunnels and trying some different stuff out. So I've been really looking at the cost savings of that. I I found some pipe over in
Nebraska?
it was either Nebraska or it was Indiana. I can't remember where it was. But I could I did the math on that thing, and I can go get that pipe for I could build a tunnel for less than 1,000 with the pipe. Now that's not everything, but it was going to be like a little over like $1,200 for the pipe
Yeah.
for one tunnel.
Yeah.
And then obviously you have your plastic and your skin, and then depending on how you're going to do your sides, I would probably just go ahead and do the rebar and that stuff. Um, but there again, it's time, it's bending the pipe, it's doing all that. So it's you have to put a value on your time as well. So it's always those kind of things. So we're looking at trying to cover more and more, not for any reason, but to be able to work in them 365 days. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter if it
Yeah. Consistent
pours
growing
4 inches of
condition.
rain. Um, the wind is nice. The wind barrier is nice on them, but that's kind of a second thing. It's really the control of the moisture because there again we
And
can
the
go
compaction of the soil.
and well yeah the ease of the soil work,
Yeah.
the soil life. It's just crazy what happens to the soil life when you can just baby it with that kind of stuff, and you're literally maintaining the or the soil moisture at a constant rate rather than having 4 inches of rain come down on it one day,
Yeah.
hard cap it, and now all of a sudden I'm trying to water it. Now I'm trying to turn it off. Well, you missed a day and all this other stuff, so they're not getting the deluge and stuff. So, but the Donnie had said they're on much smaller scale, trying to grow enough for their family and give some away to the needy, but it's still a lot of food to grow. You're it is, and it's not easy work. That's for darn sure.
No.
Um,
And
says
it's going to allow you to grow. I mean, basically
oh, a high
all
tunnel.
year long.
A high tunnel, you
Especially
can
where you're
grow a
at.
lot of food.
Yeah.
A lot of food in a high tunnel. I One of the greens mixes that I do, we can do 60 pounds in 18 days on just a greens mix, and that's got an Asian, um, I'll call it an Asian lettuce, and it's got some mustards. It's a not a spicy mustard; it's a mild mustard. It's a really really good base. But yeah, 60 pounds of that stuff in 18 days through the um, summertime,
Yeah.
warm season from about for us from May all the way through October, and really beyond. I mean, I can go November with that in a tunnel easy,
Yeah.
and do 60 pounds every 18 days. I mean, that's cranking out. That's one bed. That's a single bed.
Lettuce coming out your ears.
So yeah, and that's something that we really we started to do here in the local community with the giving away to the needy. We have a homeless shelter or two,
A couple.
um,
Well, we
and
have a women's shelter. We have a homeless shelter.
yeah, well, and each one has their different
Nuances.
quirks
Yeah.
about them. But we did find that we could always go aftermarket. If we had stuff left aftermarket here in the local market, we would just go over to the um, I want to call it a halfway house, really, but
It's the men's homeless shelter.
was that the men's one? Okay, it was a few blocks, and we would give them some stuff, but it's amazing and this is nothing against them. This is normal for a lot of people out there. They just don't know how to use it. So I mean, we could literally drop off 10 pounds of spinach, and they'd be like, "We don't know what we're gonna do." I was like, put some ranch on it and eat it. You like it, and it's good for you. So, but they just had no idea what to do with a lot of stuff, and so that's definitely one of those things that we want to do. And with one of our where our freezers and stuff are, where I'm going to hopefully finish that, and hope we may have a work day here on the farm, a gathering, a rotation day, and I'm hoping I can get everything together for that. But we are going to build a community building with that, and move our certified kitchen, because we do have a certified kitchen. We do have the walk-in coolers, the walk-in freezers, and that kind of stuff. But put a community center off of that thing to where we can bring in and teach cooking classes, teach um, new mothers how to cut up a whole chicken, because you can buy a whole chicken cheaper than you can buy cut chicken.
Yes, and you can do so much more with it. You can,
Sure.
but that is something that we've seen a need for, in the community, is people just don't know how to cook. They don't know what to do with things
Yeah.
because they open up a can and throw it in the microwave or on the stove and heat it up and call it dinner. And that's a lot of what is wrong with people is you're eating all this processed junk and not anything that's good for you, and they really just don't know any different, and they're so intimidated and scared by
Yeah.
what to do. I'm going to mess it up, and it's really not that big of a deal, you know um, so just educating people on how to cook smallest little things, putting a chicken in a crock pot.
Yeah.
And then, well, what do you do with the rest of it? How do you stretch it in my
Yeah.
my family?
I mean, I don't know how many meals you can come up with off of one chicken, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, do stuff like that, and then there again have just different classes that deal with homesteading. I mean, everything from trapping to cooking to building tunnels to gardening. I mean,
Yeah.
husbandry of cattle. I mean, we've got dairy cows, we've got the beef cows. I mean, it's all it. The need is endless.
It really is.
And the want is endless on our part.
Yes.
So,
and it's finding the time to. It's all
well, once we
putting the puzzle pieces together.
correct, and I think once we have the building, kind of, and that's really the stumbling block for me is I tend to be more of I want everything perfect. If I have a plan, and I'm not a good organizer, we'll say, but I want things to be perfect when they are organized before I do that. And I'm learning how to get over that hump and just say we're gonna have this, but I really would like to have a facility, and it's an easy thing for me to do. I can do that. So how to operate machinery exactly.
Yeah.
Look, things like that, and that's it. There again, we have so many tools. I have for if we can gain more community around here that want to do chickens, I've got all the professional processing equipment for chickens. We can teach people how to do that. We can teach people how to run tractors, small tractors, big tractors, how to do tillers, how to do mowers, we have all those tools, and there's that. And the other thing is we're always buying other tools and what not to buy, what to buy. So if there's a gardening tool out there, there's a good chance we've bought it and we either don't use it anymore or we use it all the time.
Yeah.
And we've bought a lot of expensive equipment, and there's things that I just would not recommend for people to buy if they're getting into gardening, as far as especially market gardening, because that's where you really get into deep into these weeds of expensive. But I mean, we will be doing a video with a greens harvester, and you can go online and look these things up. But that's something that if there again, it's an expensive piece of equipment. But for us, the labor savings in a greens harvester is well worth the money. And if you're ever going to do greens or loose leaf greens, it's definitely well worth the money as an investment. Um, so, but we can do demos like that. We can have people run that stuff. so that they're not going out and buy it, because it's a heck of a lot cheaper for you to come and pay $100 for a class and make the trip for that $100 and do all that, rather than go out and spend $700 on one tool
Yeah.
and say, "Oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that."
Yeah. Well, in having the community center, I mean, once you get that community built, then not only are we the ones teaching classes, but those within our community that
I'm not going to teach a whole lot of classes because there's so many other people that are so much more knowledgeable than I am on a lot of
right.
a lot of things. You
Right.
know, I am, but just a.
Well, yeah.
Of course, we joke around about jack of all trades, and I think somebody was saying, well, or do I just have ADD,
ADHD.
ADHD, and got really good at a lot of different things, or got mediocre at a lot of things, and now it's jack of all trades. It's like, hey, you don't have to insult me. I didn't come here to be that way. So yeah, fix a flat. Hippocrates says fix a flat. I mean, that's all those kind of things, you know. We learned on YouTube how to garden, rabbits, etc. We just didn't know thousands like us. Oh yeah, yeah, and more every day. I mean, this is what's so interesting. I think is we look at it, and we look at our community on YouTube, and we look at all that. We don't at first. You don't know how many are out there, and you don't think many people think like you, because we're all just crazy. Well, there's a lot more of us than we realize. But then I really step back and I go, wow, you know, there's a lot of us, but we're still such a small minority,
Yeah.
and it's humbling at the same time to know that we're still a tight knit group. We're just learning. We're just learning that we are a tight knit group, and we're just learning about each other. So the movement is just beginning. And again, we're not doing it. There is technology that we're doing differently. Like I said, the Greens Harvester. But a lot of what we do is nothing new. We're just rediscovering the days of old. So puppies just came in, getting attacked. But Hypocrite says creating the no, I haven't done it before. Don't really know how, but I'm here and it needs to be done attitude. Yeah, that's exactly right. So it's getting more of those individuals just to, but yeah, it's
Hey, that's me. It is. It's getting over that I'm gonna mess up type of thought process. You know, if people get intimidated and scared that they're gonna screw it up, and they don't ever try. And I think YouTube's kind of helped with that. Technology's helped with that, you know, because you can look it up and I can do that. And
oh, it's definitely free. It's definitely freed up of stuff like that, and it's. I believe it was Joel Salatin once said that if it's worth doing, it's worth failing in the beginning.
you have to fail to
or
be able
something
to learn
like
it.
that. But that's the fear. Is people? Well, I don't want to try that because I can't do that, or I'll fail at it.
And then what? 'Cause
Well,
you don't, it's the
and then you
unknown.
just keep going, because you never do it.
Right.
So it's always the mistake.
Yeah.
Mistake is not a failure unless you film it and broadcast it on YouTube. Who will know? Hey, I do it all the time. All the time. I make all kinds of mistakes and video it and put it right on YouTube. Sometimes you can watch.
Don't do that.
Sometimes you can watch my videos and say, "This is how you don't do it." Right there. Yeah. Mom says you better sign her up for a cooking class and how to cut up a whole chicken.
Hey, yeah, we stretched that chicken the other day and made chicken pot pie. So
That's a video right there. The chicken pot pie is everything comes off the farm except for this time it was the carrots.
Yep.
And the carrots were growing, so we'll have the carrots. But the chicken pot pie is always a hit. We can even do it in the summertime.
Oh yeah, I always like triple up the recipe because
and it's still never enough. I mean,
it's,
of course, she can make 4 pans. We probably eat 4 pans, which wouldn't be a good thing either. But very, very simple, very easy, and that's a video that you need to do so that can be put out there for sure. I wonder if you could freeze dry that.
I'm sure you can.
So
I don't know that I want to send you chicken pot pie to see if it'll freeze dry, but
Hypocrite says the best baseball player has the dirtiest uniform.
yeah.
That's
true.
not always true. That's not true about a quarterback. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's a baseball player.
Well, yeah, baseball player. I'm just saying, counter that with. But yeah, those are all really good things. I mean, it's an exciting journey to be out on your homestead, and there's nothing more fulfilling than working with your hands. Of course, I've done it all my life. I think for now, and I still, even when I don't, my day job, I don't quote unquote work with my hands, but my mind is always geared towards what I farm. I mean, it's always going back to that. I don't, when you do what you love, it's you never work a day in your life, right? So maybe the hardest work you've ever done, because it is. I mean, gardening is, especially the market gardening stuff.
Oh yeah, well, just having a farm and a
Oh, it is,
homestead,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it is.
it's work, no
It
matter
is.
which way you put it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you work 12-hour days, and it doesn't seem like it's work.
Yeah. Hypocrite says it, and one hasn't lived until you've died out blue gumbo mud from duels of a. Oh yeah, 4-wheel drive tractor, right? Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot. There was a day. This has been many years ago, and I was not driving the tractor, but it was dual wheels, front and back, 200 plus horse tractor. I was not driving the tractor, and I said, "Don't go to that part of the field." And it wasn't 20 minutes later. Hey, I think I'm stuck, and I pull up, and the tractor is sitting on its frame. The wheels are over halfway dug down in this pit, and it's exactly where I said don't go. We literally dug with a skid loader the tractor tires in the front enough to where they could get out, and we had to put pallets and pieces of wood so the tractor would actually work its way up until you could run it out. Ugh. Yeah, you can't get this tractor stuck. Yeah.
Hold my iced tea.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All that big equipment's really neat, and I loved messing around with it. I don't miss it too much because of days like that. It's just, ugh. We do have a track skid loader, and if you can get that thing stuck, then
You actually did get that thing stuck.
Congratulations.
where'd I get
It was
stuck at?
below the pond.
Yeah.
You were trying to cross the water ditch. The
Oh, yeah.
leak down there.
I did get it stuck, but
And
not
you
very
had
long.
Well, no, but you had to have a tractor to pull it out.
I needed assistance, not to pull it out.
You needed assistance.
But it's got slick tracks on it too.
Assistance.
I figured it was going to be better than digging myself out of it, I guess. Anyway,
And he had a brush mower on the front of it.
there's why I was stuck.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, as long as they don't tear a bunch of stuff up, these dogs will eat wood. They'll carry chopped wood for the fireplace around the house and put it up and chew on it. It's like, what are you doing? So what's your plans for this week?
Plant seeds.
Plant seeds, and
Plant seeds.
plant seeds.
We've
Yeah.
got our applications we need to finish. We've got seeds that need to be planted. You get to finish the crop plan. And
That'll finish off the
prepare
week.
for cold weather.
Yeah, I'd love to have that plastic on that greenhouse, that new greenhouse, but
I don't know if that's going to
I don't know that's gonna happen, but
it's really stupid out there.
I hate working with plastic when it's that cold too.
Oh, yeah.
So.
No, that would not be good.
But anyways, yeah. So we're going to probably hop off of here. I did want to, and I am not good about getting on there. I'm trying to get to the point where I can get on there Thursday nights. And if you're not doing it anymore, hypocrites, let me know. But Thursday nights, you can get on freesteading. And if you're not on freesteading, get on freesteading, first of all. But Thursday night, Hypocrites on freesteading will put a link on for Zoom meeting. That's always a good time being in there.
Yeah, you enjoy those.
I do enjoy those. We're talking about possibly doing another thing with Zoom. So more on that later, maybe. Tuesday is Grumpy Acres at 7. And then Friday, sorry. Friday is Tag and B. So you guys get over there and check all those channels out. If you can make the Zoom call, Zoomy Roomies. That's right. Donnie, I hope you have a good week as well. So, but yeah, catch us we'll be here next Monday as always. Check us Thursday evenings, Fridays. We'll be there on Tag and B, and we try to make Grumpy Acres as well on Tuesdays. So, all of them are really, really good channels to be on. And we had Billy in here with Permapastures. Don't forget to check out his channel if you're not on there. So we thank you guys for joining us tonight. Until next time.
Pull up a chair.
And welcome to Tabletop Farms.
See you guys.
Good night.